Who is Justin Leo? I'm just a go-getter as far as the culinary world goes. I love to create. I love local, sustainable farming. I love the movement that I see food taking, as far as changing things around, what people expect from dining experiences. So I just like to please. I'm a crowd pleaser, I guess. I grew up in a very large Italian family. My father, his side of the family was Italian, and my grandmother was actually the cook of the family. And Sunday family meals, everyone would come over, and she always used to make pastas handmade, make sauce from scratch, make meatballs from scratch. Everything was done from scratch in a small little kitchen in her basement. And back up in New York, we do have basements, so that was one of the benefits that you could do. But she really influenced me. She had a small catering business too that she did. Social events, weddings, rehearsals, proms, and stuff that they catered off. So I think I really got, my into the business from her, seeing what she did, and then going through high school. It was just one of those jobs that I had. Never really thought about it being a career or being a profession, and this was really before it blew up on Food Network, so it wasn't thought of as a real profession, I guess you could say. But then I ended up going to school for a couple of years, went to school for computer engineering, something totally unrelated to culinary. Decided it was going to be a little too boring for me, and it was just at the suggestion of my mother one day. She said, why don't you think about going to school for being a cook, So I looked at different options, went to school for a Culinary Arts degree. It was actually the first class in Buffalo that graduated with an associate's in Culinary Arts. So it was kind of a learning experience for the school and us, and we just did it. We went through school. I had some great mentors though. All the chefs were renowned area chefs from the Buffalo area that their part-time job was being a teacher. So another influence, and I lead into that conversation, was my professor, Mark Wright. He was real involved in the community, real involved in ACF too, American Culinary Federation, was the national treasurer for American Culinary Federation. And since I had already been a cook previous to going to school, he really took me aside and kind of said, this is what you can do if you put your mind to it. So the two influences being my grandmother, second one being my college professor, Mark Wright. My first job was a dishwasher. I worked Friday nights in Western New York. It's very popular as fish fries on Friday nights. And so I worked in a Friday night dishwashing. One day, the cook didn't show up, and they asked me to start cooking, and that's really how I got my start. Ever since then. So I've been doing, restaurants for about 17 years now, professionally. Before that it was a little amateur kind of thing, but everything from diners to conference centers. When I moved down here in Florida, I came to the Swan and Dolphin in 2004, so did the whole Disney scene there. Moved back home to Buffalo in 2006 for opening up a casino up there. It was Seneca Allegheny Casino, which is in the southern tier of New York, a native-owned casino. Did that for 5 years and decided I was going to come back down and make Florida my home because I did enjoy it so much. Found a good spot at the Hilton Bonnet Creek, and then shortly after that moved to Coronado Springs, where I was the exec chef for 3 years there, and that was what brought me here after 3 years. Was the Bee Resort opening. Saw that as an opportunity to really get a cool concept underway and really develop a restaurant that I have a passion for, which is also barbecue. Well, the concept was kind of given, and said, it's going to be a barbecue concept. And where we went from there was, the tagline of Barbecue and Beyond for American Q was how are we going to make it truly barbecue and beyond, where if you don't necessarily like barbecue, you can get something to eat where it's not that overpowering or just generalized barbecue that you get at a traditional smokehouse, I guess, if you will. So There's items on our menu that you can interpret as barbecue, but it's really about regional cuisine. So a Louisiana catfish, or a Mississippi catfish, I'm sorry, is what we have on the menu. That could be interpreted as barbecue for the region. Of course, we've got all the different ribs on there. The Texas bark beef ribs, native to Texas because of the hard crust bark on there. Memphis style baby back ribs, another regional item, and it's much different compared to the St. Louis style spare rib that we also have on the menu. So it's all just different regional. Everything's focused on that Florida fresh market. We source all of our meats, beef, chicken, pork. All of it comes from Florida. It's raised in Florida 100% of the time, and is slaughtered in Florida. It never leaves the state. So we're proud to support the locality of Florida, being that we have so many great options. We work directly with the farmers, to bring all this the great stuff in and deliver it to the customers. I think it's a combination of both. I don't want to say that I'm a manager and not an artist. I think it depends on the day. As a chef, you kind of have to prioritize what your day goes. My creative days tend to be Saturdays. It just happens to be a menu writing day where I can sit back a little bit and listen to some music and get the creative juices flowing on what I'm going to do next, or what the next menu item is going to be, or even creating the next cocktail. It's just it just becomes part of my routine that Saturdays we sit down and do that. Now the rest of the week, it's all about operational, being a teacher, being a mentor, being that manager, you said, watching your costs, watching labor, everything that has to do with the profession that people don't realize. There is cost associated with the food that goes on the plate. So how do you effectively manage that so we can be around for the next 10 years? I think the most important thing is to go get a job in a kitchen somewhere. Test it out, feel it out, see if it's something for you. I don't think it's for everybody. And I'm pretty transparent with people who ask me that when I go to the schools, and they say, what is it, what is it really like, if you enjoy putting in a lot of work and putting in some hard hours, working almost like it's Groundhog's Day because you wake up and you do the same thing the next day, then it's going to be something you enjoy. But there's always something different you can do with it too. So taking that, dish that you did last night as a feature, what am I going to do with it tomorrow night, or what am I going to do completely different from it? So there's always opportunities to be creative and express yourself. So if you enjoy that, the creativity of it, as well as the hard, long hours, then get a job in the kitchen for a couple days, couple weeks, see how you like it, then make your decision. For me at home, it's real simple cooking. I love beef, so I get home, it's really cooking a great steak on the grill. That's pretty much the extent. Now I do play mixologist at home a little bit. I do enjoy the other aspect of the job, which is creating the cocktails. I do that a lot at home and just trying different flavors. But typically, I'm not home for a meal period, so I don't get too much cooking done.